first time I realized anyone had any expectations of me was when I joined the violin competition when I was 7. When I stepped onto the stage, the bright lights and stoic faces of the judges made my heart beat faster and my hands start to shake. I remembered my mom telling me how important this competition was, which only made me more nervous. I took a shaky breath in and began my performance. Then, the worst thing that could have happened. My mind went blank. I kept playing, but I never managed to fully recover from my slip-up, and my performance just went downhill from there. When I walked off the stage, I could tell my parents were masking their disappointment behind their pained smiles and half-hearted reassurances. From that day on, the sheer expectations from my parents and myself, and the disappointment I felt that day made me dread every upcoming performance. There were countless times after that where my nerves have negatively impacted things such as my performances and my speeches. From that day on, I vowed that I would never let my own and others' high expectations of me negatively affect me ever again. When we set high expectations for ourselves, we put ourselves under a lot of pressure to perform to our very best and more. We may feel the need to constantly strive for excellence and perfection, which can be exhausting. Similarly, when others have high expectations of us, we can feel a tremendous amount of pressure to live up to those expectations. We may feel that we have to constantly prove ourselves and show that we are capable of meeting those expectations. The fear of disappointing others when we don't meet these high standards can be overwhelming and cause us to feel disappointed, stressed, and anxious. I decided that it was time for me to get over my huge fear of performing and finally live up to the expectations that others put on me. I signed up for a violin competition a few months ago and began preparing. I practiced at every opportunity, making sure to take time out of my day to practice. The thought of living up to my parents' expectations of me filled me with immense, inexplicable motivation to keep practicing even when I was tired. Then, the day of the competition arrived. When I stepped onto the stage, my hands started to shake. I felt like I was 7 again, vulnerable, nervous, and scared. But when I thought about how much effort I put into preparing for this competition, how much I practiced, and how much I didn't want to let down my parents yet again, I felt a sense of confidence welling up inside me. I took a steady breath in and began my performance. Despite making a few minor slip-ups, I calmly continued and pushed through. Pulling my bow into the air as I played my final note, I looked up and saw the proud, beaming smiles on my parents' face and heard the rapturous applause of the audience. I had never felt so much pride and accomplishment in my life as I did in that moment. In order to prevent high expectations from unfavorably affecting our lives, we should be mindful of the pressure that high expectations can bring and take steps to manage that pressure in a healthy way instead of letting it bring us down and cause us to lose confidence in ourselves. It's important to remind ourselves that it's okay if we don't do as well as we had hoped. Failing one exam or missing one goal won't majorly impact the rest of our lives, as these things are insignificant in the long run and are simply minor mistakes that we can learn and grow from. These small changes in your mindset towards high expectations can greatly impact your life, cutting the ropes that are holding you back from achieving your very best and more. That day, after my competition, I realized that when others have high expectations of me, it is simply their way of showing me that they believe in my potential, have faith in my abilities, and are simply rooting for me. They are not trying to pressure me or deliberately trying to sabotage me. Their high expectations of me is something that has helped me realize my full potential and has provided me with a challenge, giving me something to strive towards and do better in. There is always someone in your life who has high expectations of you, be it yourself, your parents, or even your friends. High expectations can be a positive force in our lives, as long as it is balanced with a healthy dose of self-compassion and realism. We should aim for excellence, but also be kind to ourselves and realize that we are not perfect. Instead, we should find a way to use high expectations to motivate ourselves to do better and improve. Instead of letting high expectations be the boulder that hinders your progress and blocks your way, let it be the stepping stone for you to strive to do better and improve.